Very well, Cecil. Thank you very much. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking numbers here. Big numbers, billions of dollars. I'm not going to talk that. Although I'm an accountant, I might just touch a bit about it at some point in time. Now, you might be wondering why I'm speaking here. I am a burgher from Sri Lanka, for those of you who do not know. Burghers are the descendants of the Portuguese and Dutch and British. I happen to be from a Portuguese background. Now, I don't have dual citizenship, so I don't have a vote in Sri Lanka. But why am I talking here? Because that is a country that I was born in. And I can well empathize with what the young generation is feeling today. Many speakers have spoken about the culture of division by race and religion and all of that. And I like the gentleman to bring my poster here. And this was my poster. Because I can vouch for that. From a prior generation, I was impacted by that. I never went to university in Sri Lanka, so I don't have a debt to pay them. And why was that? Because at the time I did my A-levels, they brought in standardization. I studied in the English language, I studied in a Colombo school, and therefore my marks were downgraded. So I missed out on university. I applied to join one of the forces as a cadet officer. I was in the finals of the selection panel, the selection group, and I was knocked out. Why? I'm a burgher and I'm a Catholic. And I was told that by a name I shall not mention here who's still around. That is why I think this is valid. Time to change Sri Lanka. Eliminate race, religious and language biases. Make it one country for all Sri Lankans. It's one country, but we have different Sri Lankans. And by the way, the diaspora all over the world should also take note of that. Because wherever we are, we have to be one Sri Lankans. Yeah. So I know there'll be a lot of people watching this when it comes out somewhere. I know there are people who think like me, there are people who think the other side. They are my friends. But what has happened today is a culmination of what has been happening for decades and decades. And no one has done anything about it. And this is why when I see those young people there, and I happen to be a Josephian and a Pete Wright, and those boys are out there at the Gogota Gama doing a wonderful job along with everyone else from every other facet of life. Therefore, this is what was required in our country. I don't know why it took dollars and cents to make this happen. Yes, so I'll touch upon it as an accountant. I'm not going to talk about and denigrate people's names, etc. Because you all know that, you can see that. The IMF knows that. But as a basic accountant, let me tell you, the numbers don't add up. We have an outstanding debt of $52 billion, right? 52 billion to various parties. You add up the projects that were done, add up the usage of the numbers, there is a gaping hole. What does that tell you? I'm not going to insinuate that anyone robbed or whatever. I let it, you make up your mind. And this is what the country is suffering from today. And yes, speakers before me have talked about the children not having paper to sit their exams, people not having milk, queuing up for gas, etc. We know all that. But what is the root cause of all of that? And no one seems to be addressing the root cause of it. And whether the ruling party has to go, that's something else. I am not the one to decide, because like I told you, I do not have a vote. But I can tell you, we have to get a change in mindset in all of you and in all Sri Lankans. That is when things will begin to change. We can be up there with the rest. But like one of the young ladies before me said, we are right at the bottom of every index. Believe you me, I have been to Zimbabwe a number of times. And I am beginning to have nightmares of what the beautiful Sri Lanka will end up as. I can see that coming. And I hope we can do something about it. But is it going to help? I don't know. We have a 52 billion gap to fill, right? Yes, the IMF has told us to go back. The finance minister has walked off empty-handed. He's now looking at others. But guess what? Another country which Australia is also having issues with at this point in time is providing $2.5 billion. $1 billion of that is to settle their own debt, one of their previous debts. So therefore the net is $1.5 billion. And that is a further noose around the country. Is that what we have? Is that where we have got to? Or should? We are a smart nation. We pride ourselves. Sri Lanka, the smart nation. What happened to our smarts? Right? Were we taken as gullible people by a handful of smarter people or cunning people? That is what we have to recognize. And therefore, we don't know what's going to happen. I'm not a constitutional expert, nor a lawyer of any sort. But what I can tell you is, looking at things, it doesn't look good. And therefore, all of us, diaspora here and people in Sri Lanka, have to make choices, and make choices that count to take our country forward. I feel the pain because that is the country I was born in. That is where I was born, that is where my kids were born. Right? They hardly lived there, and I've been in Australia for 26 years, and before that I was in the UK and the Middle East and all of that. I haven't been there for close to 40 years. But that pain still hurts me. Papua, Tava Ridera, Lansingulata Singalan Kata from the Pula. Right? Itane Pava Bahia. Oh, up the Pula. Out to Hatiliak Pangahe in the Malay. But a Honda Pulua, Kian. So, Mr. Rajapaksa, you have heard what people are telling you. Aren't you ashamed? Have you got anything called shame in you? No. I'm afraid not. And therefore, if I'm you, I'll go and cry somewhere. Don't let the Sri Lankans cry their heart out. Thank you.